Okay, so I mentioned in one of my other videos that I ran cross country in high school, middle school and high school. I did 6 years in total, 7th through 12th grade, mostly because my dad made me. I hated running, but, he made me do it.
You gotta go running, David.
It's like, I don't want to run,
I don't care.
but whatever. I did it, and I enjoyed the camaraderie, being part of a team, made friends with some of the guys on the team. And my coach was this guy named Coach Barrows, Pete Barrows. He was this older guy, 55, 60. He was on the verge of retirement. And he was a real old school, hard ass type of coach. He was like the Mike Ditka of cross country, that type of guy. Never be afraid to get in your face, get in your ass if you weren't running hard enough, working hard enough, whatever. And some of these workouts we did were just legendary. I mean, he'd make us do wind sprints the length of the football field over and over, 100-yard wind sprints, stairs, all this shit. I mean, he beat the shit out of us at practice. In a way, he was really the first drill sergeant I ever had. Years before I joined the Army, this guy was a fucking civilian drill sergeant. He would have made a good one, too. Scary drill sergeant in the Army. Drill Sergeant Barrows. And he drove this beat up, like, piece of shit 1984 Chevy Caprice station wagon. The ones with the wood panels on the side. You know what I'm talking about, right? It's like 1998, 99, and he's still driving this thing. And there was this kid on the team. His name was Tom Giordano. And he was one of the funniest kids I ever met in my life. And we became like basically best friends. He was my best friend in school anyways. And he would do this voice, which he got from the cartoon show, the Nickelodeon show Doug. Doug's friend Skeeter had the little baby brother Dale, and he would say Big Nose.
Dad, daddy, dad, dad, big nose, dad, daddy, big
nose. And Tom would always say random shit in this Big Nose voice, and it would just make me crack up. Right? And one day we're out at cross country practice, and we look at this car at Barrows had, the station wagon, and Tom goes,
"Look at that car. Coach Barrows drives a fucking piece of tin."
And from that day on, his car was referred to as the piece of tin.
"Look at that piece of tin. It's so shitty."
And he would do all kinds of other shit in his voice, like I said. Like, we had this kid named Robbie Baker in our school. And Robbie had this massive afro, right? And one of those crazy afros from like the 1970s. The thing was like 3 feet tall. And he would say shit like,
"My brother's on the wrestling team and he has a big afro. And when his head hits the mat, birds fly out of his
hair." And, yeah, but Barrows would always be, he was so proud of this car. He'd always be driving around in the piece of tin, checking up on us, making sure we didn't twist an ankle and shit. And, yeah, this guy was something else. I hated him at first, but eventually he grew on me, and by the end of high school, I couldn't imagine running for anybody else. And I was really glad I was able to do 4 years with him and his piece of tin. And then, like I said, he retired the year after I graduated. And then a few years later, I'm with my friend Rachel. And I just randomly brought this up and started telling her about the piece of tin. And I'm like, yo, let's go see it. Let's go see it. Let's go to his house. I know where he lives. I've been there. So we go up to Huntington, and I drive by his house. And to my disappointment, it's gone. And I'm like, oh, now you cheap fuck. Like, now you drive that thing for 20 years, and now you want to buy a new car. When I want to show it to people. Great. So, yeah. That is my story of the great Coach Barrows and the
fucking piece of tin.
Yeah.